My name is Emily Bernard, and I am a graduate of Yale University. I received my BA in American Studies in 1989 and my Ph.D. in 1998. I was the inaugural James Weldon Johnson Research Fellow at the Beinecke Library. It was an incredibly happy year, and the Beinecke really is one of my homes on this planet. My first book was a book called Remember Me to Harlem. Actually, I've got it right here. And I used it. This book is a product of the Beinecke. It's a child of the Beinecke, as I am. It's a collection of correspondence between Langston Hughes and his friend and supporter Carl Van Vechten, who has been an obsession of mine for many, many years. And all my work really grew out of that work in the Beinecke. And it is not lost on me at this moment when we have to, in order to be responsible, we have to be a lot more wary about coming together skin to skin. All the time I spent in the Beinecke, rummaging through the personal effects of people that I admire so deeply and touching all of their things. And I miss that touching, and I hope I'll be able to do that again. And in this pandemic, when I think about how to just keep the wheels moving in terms of my writing life and how to capture or bear witness to this moment, I've been kind of scratching out an essay. I call it scratching out rather than writing, but scratching an essay about that's sort of an homage to those moments, the non-essential touching. That's something I've got going on here. But this is my office. This is my workspace. We moved into our house about 3 years now. We moved in here and spent a lot of time dreaming about the space and spending more time in here than I ever thought I would. And it's it's definitely a silver lining. And as I'm reading and thinking about writing, I've actually returned a lot, and surprised myself, returned to a lot of Victorian era literature. And I think it's because, it's like they're always in quarantine. There's nowhere to go. It's a big deal to have a visitor, and there's no hugging, there's no random hugging. So I think I'm just enjoying reading these kinds of novels of manners that are taking place in parlors. And just, I don't know, it feels so, I have so much, I feel I understand something more about living life now in a different era. But I really am very privileged to be living a life in books at this moment. I never felt the privilege of that more. And writing, of course, still essential, even though it's hard to do, and my concentration levels are off, like I think it's true of many people, which is why the essay I'm working on, I'm calling it scratching as opposed to writing, and I'm thinking about it. It's tiny, tiny episodes. My plan is just over time to be working on this. One of the great advantages to having time now to do different kinds of writing. I have a good relationship with the online book review service called Book Post. I review for them, and there's a lot of time now. I mean, I thought that this spring I'd be doing a lot of traveling for my book, Black is the Body, and doing speaking engagements, but I have a lot of time at home, and so there's time to write about other people's books. And it's a really hard time. There are a lot of small tragedies, I think, small and profound losses of this time, losses of life and losses of small but very important opportunities for writers to make their work known and to enter into the great conversation. And so I'm reading this great book by Andre Perry called Some of Us Are Very Hungry Now, which I'm going to be writing a review of for Book Post. I just showed my hand. It's going to be a good review. It's a really good book. And I'm glad to have time to do that now and to be part of that big conversation about ideas right now. I'm also going to be doing a lot of things online. I've been organizing a couple of book launch parties for writers who can't tour, obviously, now, and that's been a lot of fun. Discovering new communities, becoming part of them online, writers celebrating each other. It's really a really fun thing. And I'm doing something with my friend Honor Moore. She has a new book out. One of the many writers with fantastic books that can't tour right now. And this book is called Our Revolution, another really great book. And on Mother's Day, actually, we're doing an event together to talk about writing about our mothers and a lot of other things. I do have my hand in a couple of different projects, and one of them, 2 different books that I'm working on right now. I actually had an essay that was in the Yale Review called Stereopticon, an essay essentially about my mother and writing and our life together. And it's part of it's a little element in a big stew that will become a book I'm working on. I'm working on a collection of essays about Black women, and that's the very next project I'm going to be working on. And so what I'm doing to kind of maintain all of these things, I'm just letting my mind wander and letting my hands wander. But as a kind of a nod to order, some kind of order, I have 4 different piles of index cards right now, and they're for all these different projects I'm working on. And I've got the one here. Every time I just get ideas, I'm just collecting these cards and shuffling them, and working on a tiny piece every day. So I've got this is the book that's based on Stereopticon. The essay that I'm writing about not an essential touching, and remembering how essential it was. There were so many people responding differently, and like a lot of other people, I'm really fascinated by how other people are organizing their time right now. And that's really the reality. You know, this was all we ever had in life was time, and it was always just how we organized it. But there were just a lot of distractions. And so now facing down the core of that, it's just not the way I'm moving through this crisis by, pounding out these hours. There's a lot of staring out the window and just imagining and wondering. So I'm just trying to make room for that and work around that limitation. Thank you for this opportunity to be with you today, and thanks for coming to visit me in my office. Don't forget me. You can come and join me, hopefully, if you're inclined, on some of the projects I mentioned. My event with my friend Honor, our Mother's Day event. I've forgotten all the details, but I'll put them on my website. I'm easy to find, EmilyBernard.com. The review of Andre's book and other books through book posts. I'll be posting all of these things on my website, and I'd love to hear from you all. I'm very easy to find. And stay focused, stay the course, everybody. One day at a time, that's all we ever had. And let's just treat each day with dignity and make sure that we emerge from this crisis as whole as possible. I'm with you.